In 1793, British forces established Fort York at the entrance to a sheltered natural harbor. The fort sits on a narrow strip of land facing the bay, shielded by the Toronto Islands. Wooden palisade enclosed log barracks, and a British flag snaps in the wind. Canoes glide across the water as indigenous peoples continue to travel routes they have used for centuries. This modest military outpost marks the beginning of a city yet to be imagined. The logic is simple and decisive. Control the harbor, and you control the region. By 1804, the settlement, then known as York, has a main street. King Street runs parallel to the waterfront, lined with wooden houses, workshops, and small shops. Trees still outnumber buildings. The town spreads across gentle hills, with the harbor always visible in the distance. Most structures are simple timber frames with steep roofs. Fewer than 500 people live here, but this street is already the heart of a frontier community. In time, it will be renamed Front Street as the town pushes north and new streets inherit the royal names. War arrives in April 1813. American warships sail into the harbor and open fire on Fort York as troops land along the western shore. The War of 1812 has reached York. British soldiers and local militia fight desperately, but are overwhelmed. As defeat becomes inevitable, British forces detonate the fort's powder magazine to prevent its capture. The explosion kills dozens of American soldiers. American troops occupy York for 6 days, looting homes and burning government buildings before withdrawing. The town survives, but the scars endure. In 1831, the 2nd Street Lawrence Market opens on King Street. Built of brick with broad arched entrances, it becomes a center of commercial life. Farmers arrive from surrounding townships with produce. Merchants sell imported goods from the harbor. Horse-drawn carts crowd the street outside, more than a marketplace. The building serves as a meeting hall where a growing population, now nearly 6,000, comes to trade, debate, and exchange news. York is no longer just surviving, it is becoming a city. That transformation becomes official in March 1834, when York is incorporated as the City of Toronto. The name comes from the Mohawk word Toronto, where trees stand in the water, despite the winter cold. Citizens celebrate in the streets. Sleighs carry officials through cheering crowds. Toronto's first mayor, William Lyon Mackenzie, takes office. The city's population stands at about 9,000. Incorporation brings power, the ability to levy taxes, regulate commerce, and build infrastructure. What was once a frontier outpost now has civic ambition. Political tension erupts in December 1837. Reformers led by Mackenzie march down Yonge Street, demanding democratic reform of the colonial government. They gather at Montgomery's Tavern north of the city. British troops and loyalist militia confront them with muskets and artillery. The rebels, farmers and tradesmen armed mostly with hunting rifles, are no match for trained forces. The battle lasts less than an hour. The rebels scatter into the snow-covered woods. Several lie dead. Mackenzie flees to the United States. The uprising fails, but the resentment behind it does not disappear. By 1845, Toronto's commercial core is taking shape at King and Jarvis Streets. Brick buildings rise 3 and 4 stories tall. Bank warehouses advertise their services. Church spires punctuate the skyline. People in Victorian dress walk dusty streets as horse-drawn carts haul goods. Trees still grow between buildings, a reminder of how recently this land was forest. In just 4 years, fire will devastate much of this district. For now, Toronto looks confident, prosperous, and permanent. The population reaches 20,000 and continues to climb. From the harbor, the city stretches along the waterfront like a true urban center. Church steeples rise above rows of buildings. Sailing ships and steamships crowd the docks. The harbor is Toronto's lifeline, the engine of its growth. Lumber arrives from northern forests, grain from western farms, manufactured goods from Britain, and immigrants from Europe. Warehouses line the shore as workers load and unload cargo. From the water's edge, the city climbs north in an orderly grid. Toronto now holds 30,000 people, and even greater ambitions. Those ambitions accelerate in 1858 with the opening of Union Station. Railways link Toronto to the rest of Canada. platforms filled with immigrants carrying trunks, farmers bringing goods to market, and businessmen traveling between cities. Signs point westward. What once took days by ship or stagecoach now takes hours. Goods move faster. People move faster. Toronto becomes a hub connecting east and west. Within a decade, the population doubles. By 1890, horse-drawn streetcars rattle along King Street. Overhead wires crisscross the sky, ready for electric cars that will soon replace the horses. Oak Hall towers above neighboring storefronts. Advertisements for furniture and dry goods fill shop windows. The streetcar system carries 20 million passengers a year across the city for a 5-cent fare. Rails embedded in cobblestones turn Toronto into a city that no longer relies on walking alone. In 1871, the Crystal Palace rises on the exhibition grounds, a vast structure of glass and iron inspired by London's Great Exhibition. Toronto's first industrial exhibition opens here, celebrating Canadian manufacturing, agriculture, and innovation. Military units parade as crowds stroll between displays. Inside, exhibitors showcase farm machinery, textiles, and new technologies. Part trade show, part carnival, part civic pride. The event becomes an annual tradition, known today as the Canadian National Exhibition. For a city of 56,000, it is proof Toronto belongs on the world stage. Disaster strikes on April 19, 1904. A fire ignites in a downtown factory, and strong winds drive the flames across 14 acres of the city's core. For 9 hours, firefighters battle the inferno as entire blocks burn. When the fire finally dies, Toronto's financial district lies in ruins. More than 100 buildings are destroyed. Walls stand roofless. Streets are buried in rubble. Though no lives are lost, 5,000 people lose their jobs overnight. Toronto rebuilds, this time in steel and stone. C'est-à-dire, stronger, fireproof. In 1916, workers begin construction on the Prince Edward Viaduct, spanning the Don Valley. Steel rises on massive concrete pillars as snow blankets the site below. Nearly half a mile long and 130 feet above the valley floor, the bridge is engineered with a lower deck reserved for a future subway, one that will not arrive for decades. When it opens in 1918, it unlocks Toronto's eastern expansion, transforming farmland into neighborhoods. Today, more than 40 million vehicles cross it each year. From a wooden fort on a quiet harbor to a growing industrial metropolis, Toronto's story is one of geography, resilience, and relentless expansion, shaped by water, fire, steel, and ambition.